Hello everyone, welcome to the preview for Manchester United versus Leicester City in the FA Cup 5th round. Ruud returns home after beating the team he's currently managing as our interim manager for us. So plenty of narratives here, but it hasn't been all plain sailing for either manager, has it, Sam?
No, up until, I suppose, the Spurs game. Like, it's been pretty shit for Leicester, and then they got that unexpected win at Spurs, but then Spurs have since bounced back with a win. So make of that what you will. And then United, yeah, especially at home in the league, have been absolutely abysmal. Fucking terrible. The sort of only sort of consolation we can have is that in the cups we've been all right. Like Europa League, undefeated. I know we had a lot of draws in that, but we have had a couple of wins towards the end. Unfortunately, went out of the Carabao Cup. Who did we go out to?
Tottenham.
Tottenham, yeah. Which was a weird game. And then in the FA Cup, obviously we beat who did we beat in the 4th round?
We played Barnsley, was it? I want to say.
Is that not last year?
Oh no, it might have been. No, that was Carabao in September. The FA Cup, I really don't want to have to use Google. I really want to try and bank on my memory. But if anyone knows me, my memory is the worst on the planet. So, FA Cup tie, who the fuck did we beat? Come on, we could pull this out.
Was it Arsenal in the penalties?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Arsenal.
Yeah.
Of course it was. How did we forget that game?
I don't know why that
Sorry,
went
people
out
watching.
Yeah. But which was, I think, a really good performance from us. Like, I thought
absolutely.
well, some good fight, and then obviously having the balls on penalties to go through. So it's a mixed bag in it, really, in terms of like in the cup we've been all right, but in the league at home it's been pretty shit. But then our record against Leicester's been pretty good. I think we've beaten them pretty much every time we've faced them. So yeah, you'd probably lean towards United in this one, but you definitely can't sort of favourite us. I think just because of our form at home is pretty dire.
Yeah, it's a weird one for Ruud, isn't it? Because he's, like I said, he's analysed it from a coach playing them in you know what I mean? And then he's playing against them, but he knows this team quite well, the United team, so I don't know if that'll have any kind of effect on it. Do you think there's any kind of bitterness there at all from Ruud? Because it was well documented, and I could tell you thrilled by the yawn. It was well documented that he wanted to stay, he wanted to be a part of what we was doing, and Amrin basically came in and was like, I've got my stuff, I've got my ways, this is where I want to go, with all due respect, in a bit. Do you think there's any kind of anything from Ruud to prove here?
I'm sure we would have liked to have sort of had an opportunity. Like, I know we sort of, hindsight is 2020. Amrin would have liked to have come in the summer, wouldn't he? Like, that's what he, because he did say, like, I'd like to stay at Sporting, come in the summer, and United were basically like, it's now or never.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Ruud would have loved that opportunity to be here and be the caretaker boss to the end of the season. I'm sure that would have done him, depending on results and stuff, might have done him good, and he might have been able to get, no offense to Leicester, a better job than Leicester, like a job higher up. But it's business, isn't it? Like, in football, it's brutal. It's business. Yeah. Like, sometimes a manager comes in, and then if you're part of the staff or you're a player or something and you're not fancied, you pretty much find yourself on the outs, and it happens all the time with different clubs and different managers and stuff like that. So I'm sure managers are used to it. I'm sure players are used to it. I'm sure staff are used to it. It's part of the beast, unfortunately. But he's a professional. Amrin's a professional. I'm sure there's no sort of personal sort of hatred towards each other.
Well, like you say, there's no time for sentiment, is there? No. Like, the league is over for us. Obviously, they'll still be pushing to stay actually in the league. Maybe we might be by the end of the season at this rate. I'm not entirely sure. But it does feel like kind of like it's either the Europa League or the FA Cup, which we need to remember. We are defending this. We are the holders of this, which sometimes people can forget, can't they, Sam?
Yeah. And we won it in a game where we were the better team. We played better. We outthought, out-tactical against the best teams in Europe. You wouldn't know that on their form this season. But last year, we're definitely one of the best teams around, and we outthought and out-tactical and beat them soundly. This wasn't like the Coventry game where we scraped through by an absolute hair. Like, this was a sound beating. Like, we did it, performed well. So we should take it seriously, and we should take it like we are champions and we are defending a title. Like, it shouldn't be an afterthought or a second thought, especially like you said with the league gone. Like, might as well, like you said, chuck your eggs and chicken in the cups and just see how far we can go.
Yeah, I'm hoping for, even though it's a daunting season like last season was, it still ended quite nicely, didn't it, with that FA Cup win? So,
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to give us back anything, that'd be appreciated,
I
Ruben
mean,
Amorim.
if you're going to get smacked continuously in the face at the end, if someone gives you a cake, it makes it a little bit better, I suppose.
Yeah, I
Like,
suppose.
not much, but a little bit.
Absolutely. Expecting much rotation for this one? Because it's weird and it's been played on a Friday.
Yeah.
Which I'm guessing then there isn't any Premier League games.
No, it's FA Cup games this weekend.
All
Saturday,
weekend,
Sunday.
right?
Yeah.
So then we play in midweek, I'm guessing, potentially, or maybe the weekend after.
Maybe. Oh no, I think it's the weekend after, and it's Spurs on Super Sunday. Yeah.
Okay. Oh wow, that's a massive game. It's 6-pointer there. Jesus.
Yeah.
So yeah. So maybe not as much rotation as we think then, but we have discussed potential minutes for Cheeto, but again that might be too much of a push. Dorgu is another one there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on him. Whether he'll start. Do you expect a lot of rotation in the team in itself?
I'd say it's a little bit. Obviously, Bayindir seems to be the cup keeper.
Yeah.
So you'd expect him to come in, even though I don't think Onana did anything wrong in the last game.
No,
I thought he was,
but he
was
can.
Fine.
That's the difference.
He can.
He has got it
Yes,
in him, hasn't he? So.
He can. So yeah, like I'd expect him to go in. Dorgu's probably a bit early, I would say. Maybe you see him on the bench. Aiden Heaven, you might see on the bench as well, just with Leacher being out and Shaw apparently being injured again. So we're probably going to need a left-sided centre back sooner than we think. And then, what do you do with the forward line? Like, you've got to find something, haven't you, to try and figure it out.
Cobby again.
Yeah. So you've got to figure something out there and get something going to score some goals. But yeah, maybe a little bit of rotation. I would expect wholesale changes because, like you said, we've got a week until Spurs. So that's plenty of time to rest, recover, train, and all that sort of stuff. If we had like a midweek game, maybe I'd expect a bit more. But I think with a week off, I think we'd be all right.
I think the cups are really interesting, because I think the further we go down the line, the more maybe it suits us. Because we've seen games that have been played where we're having to sit back. The Arsenal one being a prime example of that, or Liverpool potentially. Shades of it. I'd say more so in the Arsenal game because we went down to 10 men. But the further we go on, and in cup dynamics, teams have to push for it, right? They have to go for it at a certain point.
Football.
It might suit us. It might. I know that sounds crazy, but it could do. It could well do because we have showed up against the big teams. It's just these shit teams. So we get past the shit teams at the start of it.
Yeah.
We might be okay. I'm not sure.
Yeah. We saw it against Arsenal, didn't we? In the FA Cup, we went away, showed up, played well, and won on penalties. So we had the balls to sort of go through. Like I said, Leicester is probably going to be a struggle, which is weird. And it's at home, so, well, and it's a lower team, which again always struggle with.
Kryptonite.
So, like you said, maybe in the next round, is it quarterfinals next after this?
I believe so. Yeah, I think it is.
So hopefully there's some bigger teams in that, like we can sort of go up, and then maybe like you said, the performances go up. Maybe it does. And knockout football suited the sort of Ten Hag style, didn't it? Like the sort of chaotic nature and getting last minute winner and stuff. And we've seen that from Ruben Amorim, plenty of last minute sort of like saves and stuff, like especially for the likes of Ahmad. So, like you said, it could play well into our hands, like later in the competition.
Do you think the FA Cup's more realistic or Europa League?
I think there's more quality sides left in the FA Cup than there is in Europa League.
Yeah, you still got quite a lot of Prem teams in there, isn't it?
There's still I think City's still in it. Liverpool's still
City,
in it.
Newcastle, Liverpool. Yeah, there's still some big boys in there.
So they could give you definitely a tough test. Whereas in Europa League, you're looking at like maybe 2 or 3 where you think, okay, they're like Lazio or Roma or something like that.
Tottenham in the back of my head, I don't know why.
Tottenham.
I have a feeling we're going to play them at some point in the thing.
Well, the way the brackets are, we won't face them to the final. That's the way the brackets are. So we wouldn't.
So maybe it will be the final in Bilbao.
Be in the final. But then you've got maybe sort of, we always do shit against Spanish teams, so Real Sociedad and those kind of teams might give us a bit of a trip up. But in terms of quality, I think the bigger teams are in the FA Cup, but then you've got a shorter route to the final in the FA Cup, haven't you? Because it's not 2 legs, I don't think. It is in the Carabao, maybe in the semi-finals, because they've done it in the Carabao Cup semi-final, aren't they? It's 2 legs now, so maybe it is in the FA Cup. Like, they keep changing the rules.
I was just about to say, I feel like they change it
Yeah.
every year,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
But with the Europa League, it's always 2 legs, isn't it? Like, it's like 2 legs each time, so it makes it a bit. There's a lot more games to get through to get to the final. It's a bit more of a longer road.
Okay, then let's take a look at some stats. So this is the 4th FA Cup meeting between United and Leicester. United won the first 2 in 1962, 1975, while the Foxes won 3-1 in the most recent game in the 2020-21 quarter-final on their way to lifting the trophy. When they actually won it, I remember that, Yuri Tillman scoring. United have already beaten Leicester twice at Old Trafford this season, 5-2 in the League Cup, 3-0 in the Premier League. With the current Foxes boss, Ruud in charge for both wins, they've never won 3 home games against one club in a season before, with Man City against Chelsea in the 22 season. And the last one, Man United have won 16 of their last 18 home FA Cup matches, although one of those draws saw them eliminated on penalties by Middlesbrough in February 2022. The infamous handball, was it? Yeah, we all remember that one. Yeah. So, Leicester, Sam, interesting, aren't they? Definitely scrapping for relegation. I think we can certainly say that. Do they pose any threat in your mind? Is there anyone a worrier, or is it the obvious one that I think we'll both probably talk about?
Yeah, like I say this and we'll probably get beat out. I don't think they have anyone quality threat-wise. I just don't think there is anybody in that team. Like, you could look at sort of other sort of teams maybe who are hovering around relegation, and you could pick out 1 or 2 players where you're like, they're dangerous. If you look at like Everton, you look at Ndai, that is a quality player, like he will cause problems. Look at Wolves, you got Cunha, he's going to cause problems. He will be an issue.
A jack in the box, if one. Like a St. Maximum at Newcastle when he was there.
Like, there's nobody in the Leicester team where I think he could be a problem. Maybe Jamie Vardy back in the day, a couple of years ago, still dangerous, still had a bit of pace to him. I think he's on his way out at this point. And then, just the only sort of player I look in the squad and I go, maybe he can step up and go to like a higher thing, is that El Canous.
Yeah,
I think he's got something. I think he's a quality player. I think he could play at a higher level. And I think if they do go down, he will probably be snapped up by a Bournemouth or a Brighton or somebody like that. He'll be snapped up by that sort of team. So I think he's got something. But apart from that, I just think, they're very poor. Probably go down. And I feel sorry for Ruud, because if I was him, I wouldn't have taken that job, because I think Graham Potter turned it down. Yeah. Somebody else turned it down as well, I'm sure.
There was a lot of things about there being backed, weren't there? In the transfer market, and there was a lot of frustrations that we heard surrounding Ruud in regards to that. But even as a team, I mean, I'm just looking at some of the results here. They concede 2 or more goals nearly every single game. Everton, they've just been beat by 4-0, and I know Everton are flying in a minute, but Tottenham is in its own realm because Tottenham are Tottenham. So they won that game, but then lost 2-0 to Fulham, didn't score. Lost 2-0 to Palace, didn't score, which we know all about. Lost 2-1 to Villa, 2-0 to City, 3-1 to Liverpool, 3-0 to Wolves. Like, they concede a lot of goals, but we don't score any. So it's always feel like it's going to nullify and just be a 0-0 draw, basically, to extra time. That genuinely wouldn't surprise me, Sam.
Does it go to a replay if it goes to extra time? Or we go to
penalties? I hope not. Just get it done, innit? Get it over and done with. Why do you fucking replay? No one wants to see these 2 teams again. Just play the game, and it is what it is, Like,
if it goes to penalties, then I have a bit more confidence, because I think we've got some decent penalty takers, and I think we'll be all right. But like you, I'd rather us not go to penalties, because, like you said, who the fuck wants to see United do a penalty shootout with Leicester? Like, who? Like, nobody cares. No one gives a shit. Like, so let's get it done in normal time and let's move on with our lives.
One to watching this for me, Sam. Bruno Fernandes has been involved in 10 goals in his last 10 FA Cup appearances for United, 7 goals and 3 assists, scoring their goal in a 1-1 draw with Arsenal in the 3rd round this year. Which is a very good goal, wasn't it, in the top corner, and also played really well in that game. For me, the other one is the obvious Jamie Vardy, 6 goals in 16 appearances against United. So they're the 2 I've gone with.
I'd stick with El Canous for Leicester. I think he's good on the ball. He's got some aggression, got an eye for goal, really good passing range. He's young as well. I think he's like 21, 22 or something like that. So yeah, I would keep an eye on him. If he does play, he would be the one I sort of look at and go, okay, he might cause a few issues in that midfield. And depending on how we line up with our midfield, like if Ugarte or someone is not in there to sort of bolster it up, like physically, he could have like a bit of a riot on his hands, because we've seen what happens when we play Casemiro and Eriksen.
Yeah,
we just get walked through, so that could be an issue. And then for United, it's the obvious, it's Ahmad. He's the only goal threat we have. He's the only guy who's sort of coming up with anything when it comes to scoring or getting us out of a hole. You look at Rangers, and you look at where was the other one who scored a last minute thing as well?
Southampton.
I can't remember now. Southampton. So he's the only one who's any sort of threat on goal. When he gets there, you think he can do something. He causes defenders problems. He can shoot. He can pass, everything. And I would really like to see him, with the fact that Leach is out, and we're possibly moving, not to spoil my 11, we're possibly moving Mazraoui into the back three. I would love to see him at wing back. I'd love to see that happen, like, because I think he might be a bit more effective, because I think we have so much more of a threat when he's at wing back than he is in the 10 when we've got two full backs at wing back. I think he's a lot more effective, so I would like to see that.
Okay. I like that. All right, then let's do some quick fire questions. Manchester United versus Leicester in the FA Cup. Will we keep a clean sheet, Sam?
Hell no.
Will Bayinda start?
Yes.
Will we see any youngsters?
Collier count?
Give you that.
Yeah, he might come on at some point.
How many goals will we score?
2, but I'm not confident.
Prediction for man of the match?
Ahmad.
Amad Diallo. Thank you very much. Right, let's dive into the good old predicted 11s. Yours is on the screen first, Sam, if you want to go through yours.
Yeah, so obviously Bayindir starts because I think he's the cup keeper. We've seen him start in the FA Cup before against Arsenal. We've seen him start in the Europa League. So yeah, I think he's going to be the cup goalie. I've put Ahmad at right back more out of putting it out there at Universe, because I think he's going to be better and more effective there. So I think, please, let's do that. I think it'd be Yoro the right centre back. I'd be De Ligt in the middle, and then I think they're going to put Mazraoui at the left centre back, just because we're lack of options. I mean, Leach is out, and Shaw's still not back. I don't think they're going to chuck Aiden Heaven in there like day one. I just think that's really unfair, which unfortunately means Dallow is at left back, which I really don't like. But again, no Luke Shaw. Malacia's gone to PSV Eindhoven, and he didn't look great. And I don't think they're going to chuck Dorgu in day one and be like, go. So I think, unfortunately, it's going to have to be that. Ugarte, Bruno, the double pivot, just because I think Bruno is going to play every game. And I think we did, like I said, that physicality to stop certain players. And then I think Eriksen and Garnacho, the 2 10s, stick Eriksen up there. He doesn't have to do any of the dog work and waste his legs and stuff like that. He's really good at picking out passes. We saw that Ahmad sort of chip, so with the overlap from the wing back position, I think he could be instrumental in playing that round. Garnacho, I think, improved in that 10 position the last time he played it, so I'd like to see a bit more. Maybe after 60 minutes or something, Eriksen comes off, you bring Mainu into that 10 position off the bench. So then you've got a sort of option there. And then I picked Xerxes because it's Xerxes or Højlund, flip a coin, isn't it?
Coin toss.
Pick one. So I've gone with Xerxes.
I agree with that. Mine is very similar to yours. Bayindir, Yoro, De Ligt, Mazraoui, I think makes sense. I've also put Ahmad at wing back as well, because I do like him there. Dallow's the other one because there's no one else. Ugarte, Bruno. Again, maybe Collier will come in, potentially.
Yeah, maybe.
That's one I'd probably throw out there. I also have Garnacho in my front 3, but I have Mainu and Højlund. Simply one, because I want to see Mainu more in that 10. Because I thought he was really effective in that Europa League game. Not up top, I want to see him in that 10. And then Rasmus, you said it yourself, coin toss, whoever it is. It might be a surprise again. We might see Ahmad up top or fucking
Mazraoui.
God knows. Yeah, God knows at this point. Yeah, it could be Mazraoui. Who knows? He'll complete his full list then. Completed football.
He just needs to play net at some point, doesn't he? And then he's done it all.
Yeah, there's plenty of time. It's an FA Cup tie, so who knows? Make sure you get your starting 11s in as well. Who do you think? Do you disagree with mine and Sam's team? If you do, then get the players in who you would start in set positions. With that being said, Sam, almost at the 20-minute mark, score predictions, please.
I'm not confident about this, but 2-1 United. But I could well see it being a 1-1 draw and going to penalties. Like, that would not surprise me.
What does your head say?
I'll go with 2-1 just to put something positive out because I'm sick of watching games knowing it's going to be shit. So just put something positive out into the universe. But yeah, I'll go 2-1, but I wouldn't surprise me if it went to a penalty shootout.
Yeah, that's the way I think it's going. I think 1-1. Extra time or pens, however it works. I don't know the crack with it.
Yeah.
Because like you said, they change it all the time. But I can definitely see this being a grind. Us getting through, but it being really dragging.
It's not going to be a fun watch.
It's really
not going to be enjoyable.
No.
Yeah,
especially on a Friday as well. It's got all the makings of just like Ruud nullifying us maybe a bit because he knows the club really well. Yeah,
Bruno getting frustrated, whinging about decisions and stuff. Ireland or Xerxes being up top, getting nothing. Just I can see it. Dallo having a really shit performance at left back. I can see it. I can really.
And I'm thinking about going to this game as well. I'm kind of like doubting myself in my head now. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't go.
I don't want to go.
Maybe not. We'll see. Make sure you get your score predictions in, people. Thank you very much. This has been the preview for Manchester United versus Leicester City in the FA Cup. Ruud returns to Old Trafford, but will he be leaving whilst advancing through to the next round? Let's see. See you in the next one.